You guys asked how I created my intro video, so here it is. In the first of this tutorial series, we're going to take a look at the pre-production and how I've designed the different elements. Let's get started. I'm Jordi from Cinecom.net and welcome. I can show you step by step how I created my intro video in After Effects, but I'm guessing you guys would like to know how I did it, so you can create something unique for yourself. So it's important you understand the whole process, and that starts with the pre-production. In the pre-production phase, you'll need to create a concept first, and that concept has different branches, which are the message, the look and feel, and the storyboard. And this is a process we always go through when making designed animations for clients as well. So the first thing is the message. What I do is write down in a sentence or 5 the message I want to tell through the animation. Important here is that you don't limit yourself. Write down anything that comes in your mind. And once you have this text, you can start taking keywords out from it. In the beginning, you can take out like 10 or 20 keywords from your text. Important is that those keywords tell your entire story. And that's it for the message. You want to put this aside now, and we'll come back on this later. The next step is the look and feel. You will have to define how your animation has to look, and that includes everything from the colors to the type of elements and even the animation itself. Let me give you an example. My look and feel is vintage and cartoonish. That means I have to look for vintage elements like an old camera, a film strip, the red starburst background, etc. And the other thing is cartoonish, which means the old camera or the projector has to be a simple cartoon and not a real picture of that camera. Now it goes further than that. You'll also have to think about the movement. There's a big difference in real physics where you want our animation to look as real as possible, or the animation of a cartoon, which is more exaggerated. And you also see that in my intro animation. So what you have to do here is just search on Google or use Pinterest to find ideas. And now in the final stage, we're going to create the storyboard. You want to take a paper and write down intro, middle, and finish in 3 columns. You can also name it start, middle, end if you like, so that doesn't really matter. But in those 3 columns, you want to write down in 1 sentence what you see. But always keep in mind that you show an introduction, then a middle section, and finally a finishing message. Whether you're planning on making a 3 seconds intro or a 1-minute intro. It's this sequence that makes a good intro video. So first of all, the intro of the intro, which is like introception. For me, I've chosen to make the background pop open as a transition. Then a camera popped in, which then kinda transforms into a projector in which I will show my middle section. Now, my camera was a very conscious choice because this was actually a keyword from my message. And I've decided to show the keyword visually instead of just typing camera. Also, I didn't just choose any keywords. In the intro part of your intro, you want to show your biggest keywords. 1 keyword that explains everything you're doing. Now for me that wasn't actually camera, but filmmaking instead. And it's your creative choice to either show that keyword in a text or with a visual like a picture or an icon. Filmmaking isn't a real thing, so I had to take something else that described that, which is the camera. Alright, so this is how we form the information. But then there's also the look and feel. So think of how you would explain your main keyword as an opener that fits in the look and feel you want to go for. And it's good to take a look again at the stuff you found on Google or Pinterest. And once you've come up with an idea, you write that down. So for me that is a cartoonish camera pops up like a puppet from below and then casts light like a projector. And then comes the middle part, where you want to do the exact same thing, but now explain more in depth of what your show is about. Again, look at your keywords and fill them in as a word or a visual. Write down in your column what will happen. For me, that was different signs come from all kinds of angles, which holds a keyword. But again, you can also choose for a visual. If your content is about making your own lightsaber, you could have like a hammer knocking on a lightsaber or something. And finally, the finish wraps up the message, but also introduces the show. I could, for example, say 1, 2, 3, action, and then you'd see me and I would say, hey folks, welcome to my video. Now, I've done it a bit different. I introduced myself with the flippy photos, and on the final end, I even say that I'm the host. The reason I do this is not because I love myself so much, but it's part of my branding. But that's a different chapter. Again, these flippy photos and everything all fits within the look and feel I've chosen. So write that down in your last column, as it's now time to make your actual storyboard. And that's basically done like this. You sketch your elements and draw arrows to how your animation should look like. Now, it doesn't matter how many frames you sketch, just as long as it's clear to you, or perhaps someone else who will make the animation for you. And that brings us to the final step of the pre-production, which is gathering all the elements. That's the little camera, the background, the signs, and so on. My advice here is to have as many vector images as you can. That means things you can download or create it in Illustrator. I, for instance, have purchased most of my elements from Shutterstock, because I'm not so really good at drawing. But anyways, I purchased an EPS file, which can be opened in Illustrator. And when you do so, you will notice that the image is a path, and you can change this path. But perhaps you've chosen to work with photos, then try to look for or create high-resolution photos. Now, a great thing is that After Effects also recognizes this path from the EPS file, which means we can change this path in After Effects and make animations with it or scale the elements without any quality loss. So you've got your storyboard and all your elements. Now it's time to bring it all in After Effects, but that's for a different video, which you can find here on my left, by the way. Thank you so much for watching, and stay creative.